For the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll have Personal Appeals Part 1. If anyone has an appeal, please sign in, state your name and where you live, and you have 5 minutes for your appeal. Hearing none, we'll move on to a community minute. Does anyone have a community minute? Mr. Anders, it seems like...
I guess I'm Mr. Community now. Just a quick reminder that June 5th, it's a month away, will be our Community Day and Summer Kickoff event with music at the park. Many different events down there, baseball, softball. There'll be all types of vendors and other items down there. So June 5th, a month away.
Thank you. Any other community minute items? Hearing none, we'll move on to our special presentations. We have a special presentation by Captain Rennick. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Rennick? Rennick. For Project Lifesaver. Please join us at the podium, and we're interested in hearing about your program.
Well, let me first say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Reineck. I'm a captain with the Allentown Police Department. I'm not here officially. I'm here from the Allentown Police Department. I'm not here representing Project Lifesaver, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about our part in it and how it works. I understand you requested a demonstration of how this works, so I'll let you know how it works. I can be as long and short as you request. Again, I don't want to bore anybody, but I don't want to leave you with any questions either. We started this program about 3 years ago in the Allentown Police Department, Bethlehem and Allentown Police Department. We got a grant from Project Lifesaver. I'm sure you met Martha Lieberman, who is the head of the local Project Lifesaver, Lehigh Valley. We got a grant for training and equipment. And the cost was probably around, I forget what the total grant cost was, probably $6,000-$7,000, my understanding, for both departments. But we left there with training for the sole reason of finding those patients with Alzheimer's, autism, and any other cognitive disorder that causes a person not to be able to take care of themselves once they leave their house. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what the program was. I know that we often in Allentown get an older person, we all, Alzheimer's, dementia, that takes off from the home. And we put in a lot of hours, takes a lot of man hours to find that person, because we can't just say, well, we looked for half an hour, we looked for an hour, so we're going to stop looking. And we have in Allentown, we have more people, obviously, than the Emmaus Police Department does. And it's still a needle in a haystack. And we don't have the personnel to send out there for sometimes 7, 8, 12 hours till we locate this person. And we've always had pretty general success in finding them, even though it may have been hours and cost a lot of money. But we usually found them. So this program was started. And we put out on, it was on WFMZ. We did a number of stories. Bo Colton, I was a big supporter of this. We did a number of stories when we got this Project Lifesaver, with Bethlehem and Allentown, to put out there that, hey, we have these tracking bracelets. And what these tracking bracelets are is we put these on those folks that can't take care of themselves and are wanderers. Now, again, these aren't destined for a patient with Alzheimer's or an autistic child. These are the ones that, when you turn your back, they're out the door. Or the Alzheimer's patient that wakes up in the middle of the night and thinks they are, 50 years prior, and that they're going to work at 2 a.m. and just walk out of the house, and then don't have the ability to take care of themselves. Most times without jackets, without coats, without shoes. So we got into this program and we advertised it. Cost $350. Now we have the equipment. The equipment's a big the big cost. But each family can buy one of these bracelets. We put it on the child. We put it on the older folk, or I'll just say those with the disorder. And what this does is this transmits 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, a signal. The signal is on the FM band. So this is old technology. This is technology that, and I'm no expert in the field of science, but this is 20s, 30s technology it's used by the military. Well, they found out that this was a tracking. This is what they use to track animals in the conservation world, as far as when they say we tag or we put a collar on, this polar bear to see what where he went, for the year. This is what they were using. Well, they found out that, hey, we can put this on one of these people with the disorders too. So it transmits on the 216 megahertz range, and there's 1,000 different varieties of frequencies. Now, that's throughout the whole country. The frequency, and quite honestly, when I say this old technology, this is only good for 2 miles. I can only track someone 2 miles on an on-foot basis that it'll work, that I'll receive it. It's not like our FM radios that, and that's similar to how it works. We have something that's, a transmitter, which is transmitting the signal through the air, sort of like a radio station. I apologize for using such elementary explanation, but this transmits like a radio station. And this is our receiver that picks up that signal, sort of like your car radio. So there's many frequencies, just like on our car. We want a certain station, we're going to dial in 94.1 to listen to WIP in Philadelphia. Where 94.1 in North Carolina is a different station, and so on and so on. So FM, this works similar to FM radios in that it only goes so far, and then somebody else takes up the frequency. So that's why we can get away with 1,000 different, and when I say 1,000, these frequencies operate in the 216.... 1, 2, 3, and then there's 1,000 different variations to that. As long as we don't put one of these, and Project Lifesaver and the department itself ensures that we don't have 2 kids that live next to each other with a similar frequency. So anyway, fast forward a little bit. We put this out. We got 7 people in 2 years. That's all I managed was 7 people to put these bracelets on. Just because of word, even though we put it in the newspaper, we put it in, on TV, word didn't spread. Or they looked at the $350 as much. I mean, nobody likes to give away $350, and some people just truly can't afford it, and especially in Allentown, we're dealing with that. Come December 31st this year, and just a short story, we had that young child over on the east side of Allentown walk away from a New Year's Eve party at family's house and walked outside. Now, he was a 5-year-old that had autism and was a severe wanderer. Severe wanderer is someone that, again, you turn your back on, he's going to do everything they can to just to explore. And once they're outside, they have no thought process of cars. They have no worries about, people trying to, the dangers of society, I should say. And they also have, most of these autistic kids have an aversion or a want to go to the water. So we got the call that night around 20 minutes after he wandered. And just so you know, he was dead within 15 minutes. He went right to the canal and went in 7 feet of water, where he stayed for the next 45 hours. I spent myself 40 hours out there. We enlisted the help of hundreds and hundreds of people, almost too many people that, they kind of hurt our search. But he didn't have a bracelet on. And that was no fault of his parents. That was no fault of the police departments or no fault of anybody's. He just didn't have one. And the thing is, we wouldn't have found him alive, but we would have found him in this case within 5 minutes of me getting there with this and with that. And that's the big thing here. After he, about a month went by, and our chief of police, Morris, put out to the businesses in Center City, and Lehigh Valley Hospital jumped on board for donations from the successful businesses in the area that give some money. We can put these bracelets on those that can't afford it, and the response was overwhelming. And it's almost my full-time job, to be honest with you. We in that first weekend, I had about 80 calls of parents that were relieved that we could help, that were desperate to get some help, that are good parents. And only about 40, I had to screen a bunch of them, and again, but probably about 3-4 were from Emmaus, and they asked how to do it, and I said, well, I can only serve the citizens of Allentown. It's much like I can't come into Emmaus and investigate a bank robbery, nor do we have the time. Everybody has their own police departments, but there's only 3 police departments in Pennsylvania that are part of this: Allentown, Bethlehem, and Allegheny County. It's huge up north in New York. It's huge down south. It just hasn't hit here. Mainly this is run by sheriff's departments, but sheriff's departments throughout the country are different in that they are, in this area. Sheriff department out in LA, for instance, you have LA proper, and then everything else on the outskirts almost is the sheriff's departments. Here, a sheriff department generally is court security, warrants, and that sort of thing. So we have many smaller departments that would, the counties would fill that, like they do up in New York. So getting everybody on board with this, and I can tell you, we can't put a bracelet on everybody, and everybody that walks away isn't going to have one of these bracelets. But right now I have about 40 that are getting the bracelets as we just got them in about 2 weeks ago, and I'm still getting 2-3 calls a day from these parents wanting a bracelet. And what we did that weekend, looking for this 5-year-old, is, again, the tremendous amount of manpower, and not to consider even, and money doesn't matter in situations like this, so we were calling all the troops in, as many as we could. But the bill that we left behind that, is absorbed by the police department in Allentown is just tremendous. All for something that if we could reach the people that need this, if we could have reached this kid's parents, which, again, was it our failure? Was it their failure for not simply watching TV or just putting it off? If we could have reached that, we wouldn't have found him alive. But again, I would have found him within 5 minutes because this is good for under 7 feet of water. And he was in 6 feet of water. So I was there from the beginning. I was there when, I watched him pull his body out. And I don't ever want to go through that again. I don't ever want to go through that again. Just 2-3 weeks ago, there was something in the paper that we had a dementia patient that we searched for, again, for 24 hours. And eventually there comes a time when you have to call these searches. You just can't keep walking in circles. And to be honest, if we wouldn't have found his body via the cadaver dogs, we probably would have called the search for the little guy until he came above, or he came up above the water, or we would have, somebody would have found his body. And that's just reality. And, your interim chief Palmer called me and said, hey, what is this? I said, listen, Chuck, and I know Chuck, we worked together in Allentown. We were rookies together. And I said, look, Chuck, this is something that you can pass up and keep your fingers crossed that you don't have a child here in Emmaus take off like this. Because it's not only, finding that child, and that's our number one, the safety of our citizens. But if you say no to this, and I'm not a salesman for Project Lifesaver, believe me, but if you say no to something that, this is peanuts, to be honest, and we have one of the children, and these people come out and say, we tried, we wanted them to get it, and they didn't. just to save, $1,000. That I think is, and again, safety's number one of our citizens, but who's going to carry that load on their shoulders? And that's why we are more than happy. And like I said, this has become my second job, Project Lifesaver. Once I get all these bracelets on everybody, and the calls stop, which I don't think they will, or the money runs out, or something. I'm going to be very busy with this. But you know what? And I came here tonight not because of any one reason other than I believe in this. There's technology is going to be improving in the future, GPS and so on and so forth, but they're not there yet, that they can put a GPS tracking unit on a child with autism and find them. And there's a bunch of positives and negatives to GPS tracking. So right now, I believe that this is one of the best things here. Yes, sir.
Curious, the band itself, how can they keep it on? Can they rip it off anyway, or is it pretty?
I'll pass this around to you, and then I'll turn this on, and I'll start.
I'm just curious.
It's a nylon band. I don't care who you are, you can't rip that.
Yeah.
Simply cut with a pair of scissors. You can cut it with a pair of scissors. But you're dealing with people that don't have the ability to say, I'll get a pair of scissors and cut this. Generally it's a wrist, and we try to sell it and when I put it on the kids, I show them my watch, and I say, you want a watch just like the police? And they'll go for it. We've had the kids that absolutely don't want it on their body, period. A secondary spot on the ankle, but we got to put it on firm, or not firm, but we got to put it on so that it's not too tight, that it stops any circulation, but that they can't slip it off either. Yes, sir.
Captain, I got a quick question for you on the receiver,
Mm-hmm.
the handheld receiver. Can that be used, if we would purchase this equipment, can that be used interchangeable with our equipment as well? So if we say,
Oh, absolutely.
we need assistance from Allentown, can you please assist us, and you can have another unit track?
I have 2 of these right now, and I'm trying to get the money from Martha to buy 2 more. But yes, this is the same equipment that's all over the country. So we will, absolutely. Now, when I say I can't come in to Emmaus because I have one of these clients. But Emmaus calls me. I got 30 guys that I'm training right now. It started out with 5 of us. I was one of them. And guess who? And the idea was that we had one person on all the shifts working at all time. Yet that didn't work out too good. And I was always getting the call because we have had some walkaways and we have located them via the tracking system. I think this is a good luck bracelet, to be honest, because we have kids that they say they walk away every 3rd day. We haven't, in 2 years, I haven't had one child try to walk away with this bracelet on. We have an Alzheimer's patient that does all the time. But yes, this is stuff that, and the way it works is the frequency. This, I can input any of the 1,000 frequencies and come out and find you. Now, Bethlehem and Allentown, we both will work together, and we have that understanding. And if they ever need help to locate somebody with this, that will be there in a second. But now I just did, and I can do my own training. Once you go to the instructor school, and I guess that's part of the grant too, is the people that they come in, and Salisbury's on board. I guess they were supposed to start their training today. They were given a part of a grant from Lehigh Valley Hospital also due to the location of Cedar Crest. But I can train, once I go to their school, I can train as many of my officers as I want. So we always have somebody working 24 hours a day that's trained in Project Lifesaver. Of course, the stars always align, and vacations and time off and this and that. And I'll still get the call probably at night to be the one to come out. But absolutely, we're right over the border there. You guys have a lost kid, we'll be there. Now, when I say it's only good for 2 miles, that doesn't mean when I turn this on, and I'll turn it on now, because if the child is within 2 miles when I get to the location that he was last seen, whether it be home or a family's house, I'm going to hear What is this beep? Again, transmitting on that frequency 1 time a second, 24-hour days, 7 days a week. It runs on a battery, a watch battery. And it sends out a powerful signal for what that little thing is. Equivalent to radio stations, it's more powerful than a radio station. But keep in mind the size, the power being only a small watch battery. So I don't want to say per capita, but per the size, it's powerful. I'm going to get to that house with a missing child where he was last seen, and I'm going to turn this on. And if I hear a beep, like you're going to hear because it's only 3 feet from me, then I know he's somewhere close. And I can pinpoint this to a certain house, to a drawer, per se. And this is the beep I'm going to hear. Once a second, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this is what we do. We look for this beep. If I get to the location and I don't hear a beep, that means he's farther than the 2 mile range. What do? We get in a car and we turn this on. We have, part of the equipment is, it's called an omnidirectional antenna we put on top of a police car. And and again, as many as we have these running, as many machines as I have, I call it, we start just a search. We just start driving around. And that was part of the training that I did with my guys on Friday, is that I took it 2 miles away. And it took them a good 15 minutes to find that, even though it was 2 miles away. The average find with this, from a mile away, is 10, 15 minutes. Because it's also directional. And I'll give you an instance here. And then I'll end your torture. If you can listen, you're going to hear the beep because it's picking up the signal. But this is telling me, and what we do is when I say directional, we consistently, when we go out there, we're consistently doing 360s. Because it's going to tell us by the sound of the beep how loud it is and the intensity of the beep if we're going in the right direction. Now keep in mind, listen to this, and now listen to this. You hear the difference just in, this tells me this isn't the right way to go, this is the better way to go. And that's how we locate. And again, I can locate somebody, what house they're in, what room they're in, what closet, what under the bed they are. Not just they're in this area, like GPS would do. Yes, sir.
Captain, since it's on the FM frequency, is there anything you have to do through the FCC or anything with regard to that?
Nope. It's on 216. If you notice, your radio goes from, and I'm not a ham operator or anything like that, 70 something to
107.9, I think.
Yeah, that's it. That's where that ends. This is in 216.
Okay.
Project Lifesaver, I can't say they bought that frequency, but I guess it's an unused frequency for emergency use. That's a good question. I'd like to look into why the 216. But 216 is what this all operates. Nothing else comes in on it. It interferes with hospital equipment, so when they go to the hospital, they have to take it off. That's how powerful it is. But yeah, there's nothing you have to do except put these bracelets on these kids and keep your fingers crossed. Yes, sir.
So essentially, if I had to get one of the bracelets for me, my frequency might be 216.181. If I went missing, my wife would have to call 911 or the police department and say, Chris is missing, his frequency is such and such, and that's all that needs to be done.
I have that. I have a go box that all we have to hear, all your wife would have to do is say to 911, my husband has Project Lifesaver. They've all been trained to know what to do when they hear Project Lifesaver. Number one is call me. My guys have a go box, this big case with all the equipment, and in there is a file of every client that we have. I pull that file out, I have your picture, I have the questionnaire of what you like, what you don't like, what, where if you've walked off in the past, where you've gone to, because chances are that's where you're going again. Along with your frequency in big red letters. So,
Okay.
Correct. And then all I do is put in your 118 in the receiver, and it's game on.
Captain, you said currently your funding is mostly from donations from businesses?
We got 40 bracelets. Yeah, here's one thing that the Allentown Police Department, this is important to know. I do not do any of the money. We don't hold the money. I don't buy the bracelets. I let that up to the Project Lifesaver of the Lehigh Valley. It's Martha. Martha puts in, 100% of her time to do this. And with the way Project Lifesaver has it set up, if you would give a $50 donation to the Allentown Police Department, per se, for Project Lifesaver, I would turn that money over to Martha. Martha sends it to Project Lifesaver International down in Virginia, and it goes into the Allentown Police Department's account. When I need a bracelet, your $50 plus 300 other dollars, they take it out of our account, they send us the bracelet. No money being touched other than thank you for the donation. Now again, there was no donations in the beginning. It was all pay $350. We call Project Lifesaver. We send the $350. They send us a bracelet right away. Now we have an account, a bank account down there that it's all from donations. Yeah, and the problem with this system is, and I'll tell you who our clients are in Allentown. 95% of the kids we're putting it on come from single parent homes, mainly mom. I will say that 95% of these kids, or I should say 85% of these kids are Hispanic, and 80% of those are living center city, and most of them are just on SSI, where mom can't work. They love these kids, and they have, but it's a 100%, time consumer. They don't have the ability to get a job and leave this child with a babysitter or leave this child at a daycare because they're so special, because they are work. Imagine I have a 5-year-old grandson, and he is a lot of work. You take a 5-year-old with autism that is a constant escape artist, it's unbelievable. And just the 20 minutes I'm with these kids in my office putting a bracelet on, I'm ready to pull my hair out. And I do not know how these parents can do it 24 hours a day. So this gives these parents peace of mind at night. They have to do a lot more than just this. They have to put deadbolts that kids can't reach. They have to put alarms on the houses. They have to watch them constantly. This gives them another peace of mind when they go to sleep at night, that if this kid does get out, we're there, rather than just say, where do we start? We'll find this child.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Thank you, Captain.
Okay,
I greatly
thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Moving on in the agenda here, we have the reading of the minutes. Is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes? Councilman Barrett, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. Discussion. For future purposes, we discussed this in, I believe, General Administration or Budget and Finance?
I think General.
Shane had informed me that there is no real reason to dispense with the reading of the minutes. So if nobody has any objection in the future, we will just do approval of the minutes. If anyone cares to do this routine every time, I've never heard anyone say, I want to read the minutes. So with that being said, all those in favor? There are 7 ayes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Councilman Barrett, second. Councilman Anders. Corrections? Additions? Hearing none, all those in favor? There are 7 ayes for approving the minutes. Decisions on bids, we have none. Communications, we received a letter from Kathleen Mincer with regards to placing a banner on the triangle. Since this is not something that we normally do, but we have done in the past for events, I will refer this to GA. We have a letter, or a request rather, from Kathy Haney for putting up a lawn sign 24 by 36 to promote and advertise the Emmaus Kiwanis Club, its 43rd annual Pancake Festival, Sunday, June 5th. This, I'm going to actually refer to the Parks and Rec Commission, since it is, the Triangle is a park, and we meet tomorrow, so we can discuss that. So we'll have an answer tomorrow from that one.
Wouldn't we do then the other, wouldn't that be the same thing for
Well-
previous? Since-
Yeah, it would be.
I prefer to speak about the banner as soon as possible if we could.
The banner as soon as possible? Okay, we'll do both of them on Parks and Rec tomorrow
Simply
then.
because their event is.
Sure,
coming up.
we'll
They're
refer them
the
both
same
to,
date, actually.
we'll refer them both to Parks and Rec. Our third communication is a request from Matt Young, who is seeking to have a basketball tournament in honor of Jason Lebowski, who I believe was killed by a drunk driver, and wants to raise awareness. And is he raising funds also? But anyhow, it's Sunday, June 26th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and it has a rain date of July 3rd with the same times. This is just a matter of being referred to the staff to see if the courts are available for rental. And then the only other thing is the having a DJ there, which we can also handle at Parks and Rec tomorrow.
I would say that's the whole, I would like to discuss the whole thing at Parks and Rec tomorrow if that's possible. It's a new event, it's something that we haven't had, and as far as the rental of the courts, I would prefer if we discussed it tomorrow.
I agree.
Well, since we're meeting tomorrow, it's timely, so we can do that. You're adding to your agenda.
Yeah.
We have a fourth item from Crystal Klein. And it's, dear council members, I have enjoyed serving on the commission as a commissioner on the Special Entertainment Commission and would like to continue on the new Combined Recreation and Entertainment Commission. We have grown the attendance at the summer concerts and increased the use of the park by the community. It has been a pleasure to see the community enjoying our beautiful park. Thank you, respectfully, Crystal Klein. And that should be referred to.
Yeah, you have time to. If you want to do it now, we can.
Do we know what the new terms for the new commission, what it would be? It would be 3-year term? Since this is the second one that we were doing, we did Kathy, this would be the second one with the same term? Or do we want to stagger it?
I would keep hers the same.
Okay. Or do we discuss this tomorrow at Parks and Rec also?
That's up to you. Her term currently is until June.
So we have time?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, no, we don't have a meeting in the first week of June, right?
Well, we have
We have
another
a
one
second
this
May
month.
meeting.
Oh, our second meeting, yeah, we can do it then, yeah. Okay, we'll discuss it tomorrow, Shane. If,
Okay.
we can finalize the dates for her term then. That's the only concern I have. Do we want them to, be at the same time or stagger them? Does anyone else have any other communication? All right, hearing none. We have no borough engineers report. Solicitors report.
I have no report tonight, Mr. President.
There is no unfinished business part 1. There is no new business. Unfinished business part 2. We had the first reading of ordinance 1140 on April 18th. Our second reading will be May 16th. So our next council meeting. Items not on the agenda. Does anyone have anything to bring forward? Hearing none. Mayor's report. You have some items on your agenda.
Yeah, how do you know that? I have 3 proclamations to read. Proclamation 2016-397, Police Week. Whereas law enforcement officers play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution and in protecting the lives and property of our citizens. And whereas these officers, through constant application of new procedures and techniques, are becoming more efficient in enforcement of our laws. And whereas it is important that people realize the problems, duties, and the responsibilities of the police department, and necessity for cooperating with them in maintaining law and order. And whereas it is proper for the citizens to express gratitude for the dedicated service and courageous deeds of law enforcement officers and for the contributions they have made to the security and the well-being of all people. And whereas on October 1st, 1962, by joint resolution, Congress requested the President designate May 15th of each year as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week during which May 15th occurs as Police Week. Now therefore I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, proclaim that the week of May 15th through May 21st, 2016 be known as Emmaus Police Department Week, and I urge all the residents and friends of Emmaus to join in this observance. Done this second day of May 2016 in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. And then there's Proclamation 2016-398, Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to the quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness of injury. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, first responders, educators, administrators, and others. Whereas the members of the emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, proclaim that the week of May 15th through May 21st, 2016 be known as Emergency Medical Services Week, and I urge all the residents and friends of Emmaus to join in this observance. Done this second day of May 2016 in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. And now there's Proclamation 2016-399, National Public Works Week, whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. And whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public work systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection. Whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works officials. Whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the week's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now therefore I, Winfield Yopes, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, proclaim that the week of May 15th through May 21st, 2016 be known as National Public Works Week, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Done this second day of May 2016 in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Progress.
Thank you, Mayor. Well done. At this time, we'll move on to committee reports. Public Works Committee, Chairman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Ladenburg. One thing I have for official action for tonight is a purchase of a leaf vac truck. This is kind of a last-minute purchase, I understand, but I'll just give you the general idea, then I'm going to toss it to Mr. Pepe to give us some more details, and he can fill us in. but I had a conversation with Mr. Pepe and Mr. DeShala, our Public Works Director, about this leaf vac truck that is all-in-one truck. What it is right now, the purchase price, I believe, is $37,900. Is that not? $39,700, sorry. What we're looking to do is, right now we have an escrow account for a paver that we were going to purchase in the future that has $30,000 in that account. What I'm asking for tonight, and also what Mr. DeShala and Mr. Pepe asking as we communicated together, was that if we can get the other monies from the contingency fund to purchase this leaf vac truck. And the reason for the purchase and that makes it a major purchase is because it's effective and it's an efficient purchase. Right now we have multiple vehicles, the loader picking up leaves, and multiple dump trucks being used. This here is literally can be a two-man operation. With that said, that's just the general outline. If there's any detailed questions, I'll direct that now to Mr. Pepe.
I just want to say that not only will this pay for itself probably in a year, if you look at the breakdown of how much it costs for the six-man crew, it will actually be less wear and tear on our other larger pieces of equipment. And you know, when you're going with scooping it up with those big pieces of equipment, it's bound to happen that you might hit a curb or something and chip a curb or sidewalk, or maybe a patch of the road comes up a little more. So it's going to be it's going to protect our streets and